What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown Media. My name is Zach from Another Letdown Media and the Adjacent Text Podcast. This is the show where I hang out on a Saturday night with my buddy Broody Gambit. Broody, how's it going?
It is going great. Glad to be here.
And we paint miniatures. We have a giant backlog of miniatures-based board games to paint, and as any good miniatures gamer will tell you, no miniature worth its salt will hit the table unless it's painted. So I'm currently working my way through the Brutality minis. Broody, what are you working on?
I have some Hero Forge minis that came in. I custom made a Tomb Raider for the Tomb Raider board game and a miniature for a player in my one of my D&D games.
Nice, and I've got some Hero Forge minis coming in the next couple of weeks also. Not going to spoil what those are. Broody knows what they are, and so does RPD, but not going to spoil too much of what those are because they're very exciting, and I can't wait to paint those. But as with all the shows that we host here on the Another Letdown Media channel, we believe in civil rights for absolutely everyone and being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against that goal are not welcome and will not be tolerated. So, without any more delay, let's cut over to the main screen where we see that Broody has a new camera. Oh no, I made a mistake. I forgot to maximize the Discord window. Broody has a new camera.
Yeah, it came in after several delays. Like the one that you had recommended, the company after a month said that they couldn't get it in stock and had me cancel the order, so then I had to go find another camera.
Oh no.
But I did, and it came in. The only drawback is lack of zoom, but it sets up nice, it stows away nice. It's got like the LED lighting and everything else, so it makes things easy to see and paint.
Very nice. Yeah, it looks good. I love the overhead shot. So
hopefully a lot of the viewers don't get just a lot of shots at the back of my hand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not to say that they don't get, a fair share of the back, things not on screen for me, but that's just because I'm clumsy. So yeah, we're attempting to do better here on the stream, here on the show. Always learning and growing. So I've got this weird guy with an Iron Maiden tonight, as well as another mini that if we get to it, great. If not, I'm okay with that too. Just wanted to make sure I had backup support if necessary. This mini is pretty simple, which after the week I've had, you'll understand why. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but being back at school full time is a little weird, given everything that's going on. In other news, for those who weren't watching Trapped in Arkham last night, the team finally beat the Master.
Hooray!
RPD, I'm calling him Ed for now. He does have a name. I can look it up. It's his name is, whoa, I'm all over the place today. Where is he? Victor the Monarch Torturer is his name. Now I'm slapping down a layer of Mornfang Brown to start, which is one of mine and Broody's favorites, but I will do a lot of silver over the top of that. I'm just kind of doing a base coat here. There's going to be a lot more. You'll also notice that I'm not using the paint handle today, and that's because I broke my paint handle.
How'd you manage that?
I'm not entirely sure, but the spring popped out, and I was like, well, I do not have time to go to the store and get another one right now. Yep, we're calling him Ed. So Adventures in Teaching yesterday afternoon, as a sort of a tie-in, the local lumber yard donated a bunch of wood for the students, for which the students decided to construct. Wow, my words are all over the place right now. The teacher decided that you'd have the students build like wooden stools with, which I was like, oh, that's a great idea. A little science, technology, engineering, math project. And the daughter of the owner of the lumber yard sat in hers and it immediately broke. That made me laugh. It's kind of nice when you've known these kids since they were in kindergarten, and you can when they're laughing and when not to laugh at, when to laugh. Gosh, it's difficult to come up with a comment here. When you can safely laugh and know that they know that you are laughing with them and not at them. Next, teach them the art of barricading windows since that'll be relevant in schools. No joke, RPD. I noticed that Island Prince is in the chat once again. Island Prince, former student of mine, now working as an engineer a little bit south of me. Very proud of him. Went to visit my parents again today. That was very fun.
Yeah.
So I think I told you it was over a month ago now, that when we went camping, we found ourselves lacking of a kitchen setup of some kind,
Mm-hmm.
and we stole my parents, so they bought us one for.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So since he's a former student of yours, is he prepared for you showing up at his doorstep yelling that we need to cook? He might be. At this point, RPD, I think Island Prince is pretty much prepared for me doing all kinds of wacky stuff. He's known me for the better part of a decade now.
I don't like that color. Do a mix.
I watched some interesting television this morning, as is pretty well documented on these streams. I'm a giant fan of British comedy. There's a new show from, I can't really call her a British comedian because she's a Canadian actress working out of Britain, Catherine Ryan. It's called The Duchess. It's on Netflix. It's pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a Canadian comedian, Canadian feminist comedian working out of Britain, but very funny. Do recommend. And then I caught up on The Boys. Have you watched that?
I need to watch that. I've been meaning to. I never saw the first season, and I really wanted to.
Yeah, it's strong. It's really good. I gotta go back and rewatch some of the episodes in the first. I watched the first 3 episodes last week of season 2, and I realized just how much I forgot.
The slow release, right?
Huh?
They're doing the slow release now.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Apparently, it wasn't even Amazon's call. It was the producers were like, "Hey, we want to try this release schedule," and it is met with just all kinds of vitriol.
Yeah, I heard heard a lot of people complaining about it. I don't necessarily I prefer having the slow release.
Yeah.
I like being able to digest the episodes as I watch them.
Yeah, me too. And part of that is, we are a product of that sort of release schedule, like that was what it was expected when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And I think people have just gotten, like, people get accustomed to a certain lifestyle, regardless of what we're talking about, and they are very, very hesitant to change, to deviate from that.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. Like, it shouldn't be that way.
And not to sound like an old person, but it's like there's so much instant gratification nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you instantly get it. Like what was it? It was like earlier this week I wanted to watch something and then it's like I couldn't find it streaming, so I had to like go get the actual DVD.
Yeah.
And then bring it downstairs to actually watch.
Right.
And I was just like, man, things have changed so much that I'm like complaining about the fact that I have to like go find the actual disc to put in.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember it was TMNT that I was watching.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the 1990 live action.
Yeah, sure. So I'm kind of deviating from what the Citadel Color app is telling me to do today. It's telling me Dirty Metal should start with Leadbelcher, and like even that is not dirty enough for this particular model, which is why I'm base coating Mournfang, and I'll hit it with metal eventually.
So yeah, I'm working on Lara's pants right now, or at least her shorts. And I didn't want I wanted like a kind of a burnt green, foresty green, or like a really light brown.
Yeah.
And I started with Xandridust, and it was like, maybe, but it was like way too like khaki and not enough distinction from what her skin tone's going to be.
Sure.
So I ended up taking a bit of Xandridust and mixing it with Wog Flesh.
Oh, nice.
And got a nice like greenish color that I'm pleased with.
RPD, there's a difference between like disc hunting and just wanting to watch something, I guess. Like I own all of Scrubs, for example, and yet I still find myself watching it online because of that convenience level. So, Broody, you said Wog Flesh and what?
Wog Flesh with Xandridust.
Xandridust, okay. Also, most people don't go, that looks awful. You and I are going to be good friends like I do looking at DVD racks. I mean, you know me, RPD. That looks awful is my bread and butter. So I spent the evening trying to explain to my dad the ongoing narrative of our Trapped in Arkham shows and how we've like accidentally developed characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the random little tidbits of things we come up with.
Yeah. And the fact that it started out with just me being like, I want to make a joke as to why Sammy's not here for a week, and then it just turned into a thing. I also really like that we've sort of standardized the lineup. Like, as much as I love bringing in guest stars and, you know, talking to people we don't necessarily get to talk to all the time, it so much more convenient to work with a team that's just like, okay, we know who's going to be here every single week.
Yeah. Morning thing brown time.
Woo! I'm genuinely slightly bothered by the fact that my legit stuff shelf is more full than my trash shelf. Yeah. I don't necessarily have so much of a... I mean, as I've mentioned on the show before, RPD, I don't necessarily have DVD shelves right now. In fact, I just straight up don't have DVD shelves right now. They're just in boxes. But I feel you. I feel like any self-respecting DVD collector should have a trash shelf. Or just an oddities shelf, even. By that I mean my shelf of laser discs, with no laser disc player to speak of. I have one, I just have no idea where it is. It is very plausible that my Laserdisc player is with my old roommate. Because I just didn't have a place to put it when I moved out. Oh, not a good sign. 20 minutes in, my eyes are already watering.
Yeah, I made sure to put some eye drops in before we started.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start remembering to do that. I mean, that's why I wear the yellow glasses, but it doesn't always cut it.
So last week I was at the beach.
Yeah, that looked fun.
Yeah.
We told everybody you were trapped in Kingsport.
Yeah. Yeah, I hopped on and heard that bit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were there for that.
But I had fun. I did my usual, usually when I'm at the beach, I'll play through some video game or whatever. Usually it's Mega Man X.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was pretty busy while we were there.
Sure.
And I didn't get a chance to, but on the drive home, Casey was driving. I'm like, it's a 3.5 hour drive. I could do this. And proceeded to play Mega Man X through the car ride back.
Nice.
And then it was got back Tuesday and was like, you know what? Let's just keep going. So last night after stream, I ended up doing X2.
Nice.
After Trapped in Arkham, I didn't quite finish it, so I ended up waking up this morning and finishing it. And then at that point in time, Casey's just like, "Are you going to go on to 3?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess so. If you're fine, you don't want to do anything else with the TV." So I started that, and that one is,
See, my big problem with the X series is that my primary way of playing them is on my Retron, or sorry, either my Retron or my Superboy. And I prefer to play on my Superboy because I can move around the house. Like if my wife is hanging out and reading something or whatever, I can play Mega Man and carry on a conversation at the same time. The problem with the Superboy is if I jiggle it just wrong, it deletes my save. Now,
yeah, that's not a fun way.
No. Now, the Mega Man games for Super Nintendo, not that big a deal because you can just type in the code and pick up where you left off. The problem is I forget to write things down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have the Legacy Collection for the Switch, and that's what I'm playing it on this time.
Nice.
Like I used to have it on the Legacy. Well, I still have the Legacy Collection on PS2.
Yeah.
It's just that's a lot harder now because I have to like go get the PS3 that still plays PS2s.
Yeah.
Because the PS4 does not.
Right.
So it's just a bit more of a hassle.
Right.
So I'm glad to have it on the Switch now.
I think, I owe a lot to the Switch. Like it's why I know the Mega Man Zero series as well as I do at this point in my life. Like there was definitely a point in my life where I knew it a lot better, but not growing up with video games, like I relied a lot on my friends to like sort of drag me through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you need to go up there and do this thing, and okay, fine, I can do that. So I didn't have that memorization that a lot of people do. But I don't have the Mega Man X collection. I really ought to. One of these days I'll pick it up. But there are so many games and so little time.
Yeah.
RPD says. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have a small spot because X4 was like the first Mega Man game I played back in '97.
Mm-hmm.
96 or whatever. And so just the X franchise in general is the one like I kind of like best, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, and that's why, exactly the same reason that I like the Zero series as much as I do. Is Zero 2 is the first one I beat completely of my own volition. RPD says, update. While arranging my latest DVD haul, I have now reached the point of my legit shelf being filled to capacity. Well, that sure is a thing, man.
Just the follow-up on that is how full is your illegit?
Yeah, right. And have you ordered a copy of the FP yet? Oh god, I'm just realizing this guy, like, has no legs.
That's suboptimal.
Yeah. He just has, like, little bony stumps. God, Brutality really is a disgusting game. So we're going apple picking tomorrow.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
A bit early for them. I mean, I guess you're a bit colder up of where you're at, where
Yeah.
it's like 80 degrees here, so like our apple picking season isn't until like mid to late October.
Right. Ours is September through late October. But this is kind of the only weekend that all of us could free up. with any reasonable expectations. So we're meeting up at 10 o'clock in the morning, doing our apple picking, which usually doesn't take all that long because there's a billion of us. You know, we've got myself and my sister, and well, myself and my wife, my sister, her 3 kids, her husband. Like, there's a bunch of us. So the picking doesn't take much more than an hour. And I said, you know what? Let's do an apple bake-off afterward. And everybody seemed to be on board with that. And so we were like, so we started talking about this last week. And initially it was like, oh yeah, each family will do, you know, one recipe. And then Eric goes, well, but no, let's have each grown-up do a thing. And I was like, oh, that's how it's going to be? All right, let's do this. And so I ended up stealing my wife's idea.
Awesome.
I was like, you go get another one. I'm doing this. So I'm making apple pie bread pudding.
Nice. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. I'm super excited about it. And so everybody else, like, my sister posted, you know, the ingredients she bought to our group chat this morning, and I just laughed. Because hers are all like, oh, this is like a store-bought apple crisp like mix. And I was like, nah, dog. Everything from scratch, my own recipe, like, let's go. I'm winning this.
Yeah.
And by my own recipe, I mean adapted from Binging with Babish, but that's fine. Operative word being adapted. It's definitely not, you know, strictly Andrew Ray's recipe.
Yeah.
Which I personally think like that's, I don't know how much Binging with Babish you watch, but I think that's sort of the spirit of the show, is like, hey, I'm not like really a cook, but people seem to want to watch me cook things, so here you go. Here's how I do it. Feel free to do it your own way.
Yeah.
Which I have always appreciated. Situation. Oh, we seem to be in F-Zero music now. Rather apropos that you and I were talking about Mega Man, because it was Mega Man 01 music playing. I had a sudden urge to play music.
My sister-in-law's coming over tomorrow.
Yep.
And we've been running through Dunwich Legacy.
Yeah.
For the LCG.
Love it, love it.
And we are going on the train ride.
Ooh, that one's brutal.
And I'm looking forward to that. Very fun encounter. That whole scenario is just a really interesting one.
It's really unique, and I don't think they've replicated it anywhere else.
Is my mic? Yeah, my mic's working.
Did I? Hold on. Did I mute my thing? I can hear me. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me, Zach?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
Because I'm not getting sound.
Can you hear me now? Uh-oh. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. Like all of a sudden it just stopped. And what was interesting is like I was responding to you, and I know that like the stream was picking me up because I could see my monitors going, and you were responding as if you could hear me. Like your cadence was perfect.
Yeah, no. Yeah, pretty much as soon as I started that story, like I wasn't getting anything from you. So
That's weird.
just yeah, bizarro.
No, that's super rad. I love the Dunwich Legacy, and the train scenario is unbelievably cool. Like so unique.
Yeah, I was like bringing it up with Casey, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a fun one, and she's like, I remember hating that one. And I was like, it is like one of the most popular scenarios that, like a lot of the global groups and stuff always talk about playing, and it's like one of the ones that you do, not speed runs, but they'll like, how far can you go?
Yeah, challenge runs.
Yeah.
Sammy I remember Sammy getting really, really angry at it.
Yeah, the first time we were going, it's like, oh. So it's like you're going along, agenda flips, oh, train car gets sucked up, okay, that's great. Let's just keep going. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're keeping up ahead, then all of a sudden it was just like 2 cars flip, and it's like, well, we're all gone.
Yeah. We have a house rule, I guess, is what you'd call it, that once per campaign, if everything goes just catastrophically wrong, which it does sometimes, we can call a mulligan. And oddly enough, I don't think that's actually what we used our mulligan on. Like it went badly, but not badly enough for us to be like, okay, no, we need to redo that. Man, there's just a ton of Hornfang Brown on this model. And then we're going to get into the Rakarth flesh, which there's a ton of that too. Rakarth flesh MVP on this stream. Never before had I touched that particular color, but I bought it like 2 weeks in and I've used it for almost every model. In other news, I finally finished the character I started a while ago. The stuff I watched for inspiration and understanding did not help in the slightest. I mean, such is life, RPD. The best intentions of mice and men often run awry, as we all know.
Mostly just mice.
What?
Mostly just mice.
Mostly just mice. Almost got my hand caught in a mousetrap today. That was interesting.
Well, that's always fun.
Well, my mom neglected to tell me that there was one in the closet, and I was in there looking for a cocktail shaker, which apparently doesn't exist. My brother took it with him when he moved out. And got about 3 inches from the mousetrap without realizing it was there. Then another 2 inches further forward before I realized what it was. I was like, why is there a piece of wood? Oh!
Oh, yeah.
And my mom's like, oh yeah, watch out for the mousetrap. I'm like, yep, nice of you to tell me before now. That would have helped. Fortunately, I did not get my fingers trapped in it. Those things hurt, man.
Yes, they do. I mean, they're designed to break bones.
Yep. Perhaps not human bones, but bones nevertheless. I think YouTube may have stopped the playback. I'll fix that momentarily. Someone asked me today what my favorite dinosaur was, and I was like, that is a great question. My answer, I know what my answer is, Broody, but what is yours?
My favorite dinosaur?
Yeah.
To be honest, I've never really given it a lot of thought. I've always liked the pterodons and pterodactyls, like the flying ones.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I gotta go with the Triceratops, though.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that'd probably be next on my list. I do remember being young and having a couple of stuffed Triceratops.
Yeah. Well, our friend Russ agrees with us too. Triceratops, pretty dope dino. Man, this Iron Maiden. So much brown. I think I finally got to the end of it for now. Bring on the Rakarth flesh! So in our D&D game, we finally, our Sentinels RPG game, we finally got unmind swapped.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It was interesting because, like, Braithwaite, I don't think intended for us to be mind swapped at the beginning of this session. And, like, it seemed like he kind of went out of his way to get us to realize, okay, we're not supposed to be mind swapped.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as we started saying, hey, being mind swapped is not fun, that's when we started getting unmind swapped. There's still some garbage shenanigans going down, but, like, much easier to deal with when you have your own powers.
Yeah.
I'm also not entirely convinced that he had fully planned the Mojo Jojo encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Because that character was so completely over the top.
Yeah. Mojo Jojo.
Like, we got trapped in these in this cell, and, like, the door was wide open, but of course we assumed it was locked.
Oh.
So I tried to do portal stuff to get around it, and ended up just, like, right back where we started. And then getting it, like, when your character doesn't have the power set, and this is an observation about RPGs in general, when your character does not have the power set that you designed it to have, your ability to solve problems goes through the toilet.
Yeah. I feel like that's a problem with RPGs in general. I was discussing this because we, like one of my D&D campaigns, the most recent thing we had, we got into, like, a dungeon that had lots of puzzles and stuff.
Sure.
And, like, puzzles to solve in, like, video games are one thing because, like, you have set parameters of, like, the stuff that you were able to do to solve said puzzles.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, like, D&D, where there, like, is literally no limits as to what you're thinking, like, we kind of got to the point where it was, like, the ability to solve puzzles, it was a detriment because we didn't have enough to, like, narrow our thoughts of what we needed to look at or what we could have possibly done because there were too many options.
That's a situation you run into in Call of Cthulhu a lot, and SCRPG as well. Like, anytime you have an open system like that, your players do whatever they want. and you're depending on the system, your ability to react to whatever your players decide to do determines, I guess, your proficiency as a game master. It can be difficult. Suffice it to say, we have our powers back, and now we're inside a giant mechanical ape.
Is it great by any chance?
I'm sorry?
Is it like a giant purple ape?
It's not a Bonzi, buddy.
Well, I was mostly thinking grape ape, but...
Oh, fair. Nah, it's just metal. As far as we know. I never bothered to ask Braithwaite what color it is, but... It's interesting because the first campaign that I ran, other than the starter kit for SCRPG, was a campaign that I called Lunch Break. And it was based on the Aquabats Super Show.
Mm-hmm.
And every encounter that I did was based on a different song. So I did like the Sand Fleas, and I did the Floating Eye of Death, and I did the Cat with Two Heads, and you know, one of the ones that I rejected, oddly, was Mechanical Ape.
Didn't they just come out with a new album?
Yes, they did. It's called Kooky Spooky in Stereo, and I have it right here next to me, actually.
Do you like it? Is it good?
It is quite excellent. It is not, here it is. It's not exactly what I expected from the Aquabats, but it's growth in a good way. I mean, it's learning and growing in the best possible way. RPD says, like I started watching OSWR reviews of video podcasts about old wrestling pay-per-views to get a better idea of how to make a sane and reasonable wrestling character. Then the part of my brain that chose to watch Cats over Knives Out in the theater took control and panicked and picked the story arc labeled The Dungeons of Doom. As for how my building's been doing, look at the post. Yeah, I just did. Yeah.
I just watched Knives Out this week.
Yeah.
It was on Prime. And like I really wanted to see it in theaters, but I never got around to it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally saw it, and I loved it. It was such an entertaining movie.
I haven't heard, like, I know it's a thing, but I literally know nothing about it. So.
Yeah, I mean it's a murder mystery type thing.
I mean, say no more. You have my attention.
Yeah. And it's just got a great acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Chris Evans.
Oh, wow.
Craig. They're all outstanding.
The Dungeons of Doom is not sane and reasonable. So it's Vinesauce Joel. I spent most of the week working on that Buffy rewatch, because now there's, a point to my doing it. I guess that's why I put it off for so long, because there's not been a point. And now I have a reason to. And I do love me some Buffy.
This menu is turning out great.
I was trying to tell my parents tonight about our Buffy streams and how we finally won last night, and they were very confused. My mom was like, "Wait." My mom had no idea that I even watched Buffy as a kid. I was like, "Yeah, it was like the nerd thing at the time," and it was on like when I'd get home after school, so I'd set up my homework and watch Buffy, and it was great. And she goes, "Really? You weren't supposed to be watching TV?" I'm like, "So? Nobody was home. Who's gonna stop me?" Also, I had a giant crush on Allison Hannigan. Like,
Here's my chocolate. Yeah. Yeah, I've never gotten into Buffy.
mm-hmm.
Like I really hadn't watched any of that stuff until like I graduated college.
Sure.
I was about to say like I always joked with Casey because like Casey grew up watching all of that stuff, and she kind of what got me into watching it in the first place, when we were in college and when I had shortly finished, like after graduating.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started like looking back, and like all of my or not all, but like a ton of my favorite movies and stuff were all stuff that Joss Whedon had like written screenplays for or had worked on in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And so like I was, oh wait, so I guess I've been a Whedonite for significantly longer than like I realized.
Sure.
Because it wasn't like he did like Atlantis, one of my favorite Disney movies. He did Titan AE, which is also one of my I love that movie. Handful of other stuff similar to that.
Yeah. So in an effort to shake things up a little bit on this model, even though the app suggests Mournfang Brown for this as well, I'm using Dryad Bark instead. Just for a little variety. Yeah. RPD, I frequently forget. Are you older or younger or the same age as us? Okay, so you're younger. Pretty significantly, actually. So that makes sense.
Yeah, my afternoon schedule when I was younger that I remember was getting home from school and watching the Toonami lineup that was Thundercats,
Yep.
Quest, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon.
Yep. I would stop at Dragon Ball Z because I had homework, but... Also, Sailor Moon just kind of confused me.
My morning routine used to be Sonic the Hedgehog and Transformers.
Morning for me was just like, gotta eat breakfast, gotta get out the door, you know?
Yeah. I'm not sure how, like, I did not have like a bus schedule or anything.
No, I didn't either.
Okay, and we only live like 5 minutes from my school.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, we were like, I'd still get up and wouldn't have to worry about like a time rush or anything like that. So
right. No, I was never pressed for time, but I was just like, I guess inherently of my own volition, I imposed a time constraint on myself. Also, grape nuts take a while to eat. arduous process of lead belchering the spikes on the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while.
Yep. All things being equal, this is a really boring model.
Perfect.
Hey,
Perfect guys.
nice. Dungeon Doom is the kind of villain group with a member named Zodiac, who's just a guy with zebra-striped face paint and zebra-striped tasseled arm, and like one person says yes or no.
Oh. So, when playing Mega Man 2 this afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
trying to just finish it off, I decided that I usually don't do this, but I decided to go for the Shuriken,
Yep.
because going for any of those is usually a pain.
Yep.
And the Shuriken is a whole lot harder to get to than the Hadoken from the first X game.
Yep.
Spent like in 45 minutes, maybe an hour, just constantly going for it.
Yep.
It was nice because on the path up there was like a 1-up, so I just kept getting that 1-up and just like infinite lives essentially.
Yeah.
And me and Casey were joking. Like it got to a spot where there was like a tricky spot was spikes. So to avoid insta death, I just like let an enemy hit me and then darted through it real quick.
Yeah.
Using the like the few seconds of invincibility.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Casey was like, wait, she was confused as to what was happening. I was just like, I was using the frames of invincibility, like the few seconds that I get there. And I just sat there for some, like, you know what? Frames of Invincibility would be an amazing band name.
I was gonna say, Frames of Invincibility is my Dragon Force cover band.
Oh,
But like chiptune. Dragon Force chiptune cover band. Boy, it's been a long time since I've made an X is my Y cover band joke. I do a lot of like X new band name I call it jokes these days. Because it means I don't have to quickly come up with a band to...
Lead Belcher.
Me too. Chiptune metal is a perfectly valid thing. I can find you. Oh no! I know there's definitely some chiptune metal out there. Actually, even Coheed and Cambria has started using elements of chiptune lately, which has been really cool. Christopher and Jeremy and I were commenting on that when the latest record came out. Not what you'd expect from that band, but it actually works really, really nicely. They do a lot of things that I don't expect. Writing sequels to other people's songs, like that's pretty unexpected. I'm once again in that weird brutality paint space where it's like, I don't care if I slop this paint because the intention behind the game itself is like messy.
Yeah.
I have the GW technical for Rust, but I don't think it applies here. This is coming out actually pretty okay.
I think this is it for Tomb Raider. I can just hold my hand still.
Nice.
Just gotta do some washes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the base coat is down, unless I want to maybe do some highlights for belt buckles and stuff like that with lead Belcher. I think I might do that. Speed up some time. Or get some nicer detail on it. I'd say Tomb Raider is one of my favorite video game franchises, so I mean, maybe I'll go a little particular about it.
Tomb Raider is probably one of the first what I would call modern video games I ever played. My buddy Bruce his mom used to watch us after school, and if we got our homework done, with reasonable enough time, she would let us play Tomb Raider for a bit after our homework was done.
That is interesting because for me, I still consider Tomb Raider one of the classic video games, not the modern ones. I usually I usually split the classic video games are pre-2000 and post-2000. That's usually where I put the split.
Sure.
So I know there's the golden age era, in the 80s, Zelda, Mario, all that stuff.
Sure. I think the reason I can... Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, I still consider some of the franchises in the early, mid-90s that started like that as still more classic franchises.
I think the reason I consider Tomb Raider more modern is because of the gameplay. Prior to that era of gaming, you didn't really have the whole walk around and do shit stuff. Language. I'll language myself here. Style of game. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just insane, but it was the difference between going to Bruce's house and playing something on PlayStation and going to Nathan's house and playing something on Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
Whoops. So we got our first full week of in-person teaching coming up this week.
That sounds exciting.
I mean, you know, I said it to the students yesterday. I'm like, look, I'm not going to lie to you. What we're doing right now is not the normal curriculum. We're getting you ready to go back into remote learning, and be successful there. We can do this. That's fine. We just need the time to get you prepared. And no, it's not going to be perfect. But gosh darn it, we're going to try. And, you know, none of us can do this all by ourselves. We all need each other. So let's just do the best we can. And so I guess it's kind of like what Gandalf said in was it the Fellowship of the Ring, when he's like, you know, nobody really knows what they're doing. They just got to make the best of the time that's given to them.
Yeah.
And that's my philosophy approaching this start of school stuff. And this year has been really, really rough on all of us, you know, the world over. And we kind of have to stay focused on the few things that have gone right, and also focus on making the last couple of months as good as they can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so looking forward to the holiday season, even though it's going to be super freaking weird.
Yeah.
And you know, I talk to my therapist all the time. It's like, prior to all this going down, I got to hang out with you, twice a year, if that? Now I get to hang out with you every freaking week? This is pretty freaking rad.
Yeah. Actually, more like twice a week.
Exactly, right. Well, right, yeah, the last time I saw him, we were still doing Arkham. And yeah, now it's twice a week. I get to see Jacqueline and Greg at least twice a week. I can see, you know, I talk to Adam way more. I talk to Christopher way more. There's some things that came out of this that are pretty awesome, all things being equal. And we got to stay focused on that.
Hey, Grax, or feed time.
Yep, I'm almost there myself. So I did Mornfang, and then I did a little bit of Leadbelcher kind of scribbled over the top of it to make it reminiscent of metal. But I think that's going to cut it. I think that's going to work the way I want it to. RPD says, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm not sure if I can speak about Outdoorland because of how relatively untouched my life is and how much of the toll the situation has taken on me has been convincing people to hold themselves together. But you know what, RPD? That has been so valuable. I speak for myself, you know, on that. But having you here every time we go live and chatting with us and hanging out with us, it really means a lot. And it has helped me stay together. Again, I can only speak for myself, but you know, it in my mind, that's tremendous. I would do this live streaming stuff even if it was just a record of what I've done for myself. But to have someone who's willing to hang out with us every single time we go live is awesome.
Hero Forge makes great minis.
Oh my god, they do. They so do. I'm so excited about the ones I've got coming in.
I've got one more from Hero Forge that I did not mention. I was going to pull it up as a surprise when I finish it. Because I like, they didn't have exactly what I wanted to do, so like I've been green stuff, trying to like get it all set up, and the green stuff didn't quite set in time. So I'll probably have it for next week.
Nice.
But I wanted to surprise you with it, so.
Awesome. Can't wait. So I've got, I mentioned it to you, Broody. Next week I'm going to be taking, well, I probably won't completely take a break from the Brutality minis. I probably will work on probably the one I've got sitting next to me. But I also have a commission coming in next week. I was kind of hoping it would be here tonight, but didn't quite get there. But yeah, it's next week's going to be a good week, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the one that I got.
That's super good. And then the week after that, fingers crossed, my Hero Forge minis will be in, and I'm hoping they ship a little bit faster than their estimation.
I was about to say the ones that I had. Let's see. I think I put the order in on August 17th, and it said it would ship by September 9th. But it ended up shipping last week, and I ended up getting them in the mail yesterday on the 11th.
Okay.
So it shipped out a little bit early, and came in pretty soon after what they initially said would be the shipping date. So.
Okay, I'm hoping. I'm fingers crossed. Because if all goes well, we should have some pretty exciting people in the chat that week. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, oh, for sure. RPD. The Chronal Gymnastics. By the way, I love that turn of phrase. Really, that means so much. Here's one thing. Yeah, the Hero Forge just does incredible work. But yeah, next week I've got a ship mini from somewhere that Russ came up with, and he asked me to paint for him. Paid me to paint for him. God, it is so weird base coating something that you know is supposed to be metallic in Mournfang brown.
Yeah.
Three to 4 to 6 to 7 a.m. are not time frames that rational thinking would consider viable on a weekly basis for non-job purposes. Yeah. It is the darndest thing, RPD. But we super appreciate it. Again, we would do this for nobody, but having someone to do it for is really, really special. Update. Wolf and Ninja. Okay, cool. I was actually going to ask about that. But now I don't have to.
Doing stuff.
It happens. More than I'd like to admit. So in the ongoing saga of the eccentric millionaire.
Oh yeah, how'd that turn out? I saw your picture the other day.
Yeah, so that's all that's come up so far. I know my boss has a meeting with him at some point. My coworker did not know much more beyond that today when I called her. But we are interested to see where that goes because it could be very, very beneficial to the store.
Yeah.
Because like he was interested in a lot of the stuff that we just haven't been able to move historically. And showing that my boss does indeed have a heart, he finally managed to give, or finally agreed to sell Kyle the rest of the Arkham Horror expansions that he didn't have. Took him long enough, and a lot of berating from me, but he finally did it, and that was super special for me. So I'm getting Kyle his own Arkham crate, custom built by me and Alex, for Christmas this year. Basically, I will do I'll have Alex pick it up, and he'll do the staining and stuff, and then I will put the decals and stuff on it, and wrap it up and give it to Kyle. He has been waiting a very, very long time for that. And I'm glad he finally gets to have his copy completed. He was starting to get really discouraged about it with the prices online.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Mike did not charge him MSRP for it. I'm sure he charged him fair market value, but it's better to get it from the store than it is to have to scrounge around on eBay.
Yeah.
We've also been talking about which horror movies we'll have up for analysis come Spooktober, and I'm really looking forward to the likelihood of analyzing Terror Vision. Yeah, that sounds good.
Now I just got to let her set.
Mm-hmm.
Finish washing.
I'm almost at the washing stage here myself. She looks great.
So yeah, classic blue tank top.
Mm-hmm.
did that mix for like the foresty green, but not like not too dark. Chocolate brown for the hair with the Mornfang for the backpack and other leather like boots and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look the same. Although on the chocolate, the Agrax Earth shade does not show up very well.
Oh, that stinks.
Maybe I'll go over with the extra touch of Nuln Oil to get the shading in.
Mm-hmm.
See if that turns up the touch better.
Oh, so I had a huge order of books come in at the library this week.
Yeah?
They were all mislabeled.
That's no good.
So, like, they all came in with barcodes that had already been attached to books. So I had to re-barcode all of them. That was a nuisance. Kept me busy, though.
That did the trick.
Right on, right on.
Normal oil and the chocolate gave it enough of a darker coming for like the recesses and inside the braid and stuff.
Awesome.
I am pleased. I will let that dry before I do highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
I will move on to my second mini.
Oops. This mini is going to be insanely easy to highlight. Mostly because there's just nothing going on here. Got some patching to do here. Let's see, right under the collar area. A little bit touching up. Get that with a smaller brush though. RPD, I need motivation for tomorrow night's Tales from the Archive. What should I do? It's gotta be something that doesn't involve writing, because I'm very busy tomorrow. I'll get to the big block in just a second. One chuckle-worthy coincidence I noticed is the two big titles I'm looking forward to come holiday season are Scott Pilgrim. Oh, yeah, you mentioned that it's that Yakuza and Scott Pilgrim have a lot of crossover, and yeah, it gave me a chuckle when I saw that on Discord. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to streaming that Scott Pilgrim game.
Yeah, that game was a ton of fun.
I never got to play it.
Really?
Well, so... Okay, here's that long story. I did not have a game console at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I also had a really garbage roommate who wouldn't let me use his. So... I just kind of watched it come and go and was very sad.
I have no idea why they decided to like just take it off and have it disappear from the ether.
Yeah, it was super weird, and I was very sad. Especially since the video gaming view of reality part of Yakuza happens to dramatically increase once it stops being the same genre as Scott Pilgrim. Nice. Alright, I gotta do those bones, and then it's ink wash time. I think. Oh, wait, no, I gotta do the top of his head. Whoopsies. This guy's the weirdest bald dome ever. Okay. Yep, looking good, looking good. Just gotta do those leg bones. Bones. bones.
I eat the bones.
I love my bones. What's that one from, Rudy?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Sesame Street.
Okay.
It's this weird guy in one of the cartoons who just like he's going on about how much he loves his bones. I wonder if I can find that. I won't do it right now, but
I'm sure you could if you look hard enough.
a lot of Sesame Street happens to be just like around. What's it?
I mean, I guess that's why it's public broadcasting, although doesn't HBO own them now or whatever?
Yes. Which is really unfortunate. Because it means they've gone from being completely free to everybody to only available to the elite. Metaphor from the American education system at all? Lefty. Lefty is one of my favorite Muppets of all time. He's the guy that would go up to Ernie and try and sell him things like a box full of nothing. Hey, bud. Who, me? Yeah. Wanna buy an 8? An 8? Shh! An 8? Yeah. You look like a smart fella. We might want to buy an 8. An 8? Shh. I loved that guy. Lefty was my hero.
Speaking of which, I just mentioned that I'd seen Knives Out this week. Frank Oz was in it as well.
Yeah. Frank Oz did, like, so as much as you got to give Jim Henson credit where credit's due, Frank Oz was the heart and soul of so many Muppets.
Yeah.
Yoda, even.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get it, not technically a Muppet, but
yeah, I love the fact that with a lot of the Muppets they treat them as like actual people.
Right.
So it's not just like you don't have a puppet. Like Kermit's like an actual thing. At one point in time, I forget what it was, but they did this like joke of Muppets that were auditioning for Yoda.
Right. Yeah. Oh god, that was so funny. Wasn't Miss Piggy one of them?
Might have been. I don't remember all of the different bizarre things that showed up for it, but it was just like they had the casting call for it.
Yeah.
And it's so much so like with the Muppets TV show, it's like Miss Piggy became like the first female late night talk show host.
Yeah, that was weird.
Huh? It's like she's not real, but it's like they treat her as if she is.
Yeah, and I think that's the worst. Like, have you watched Muppets Now?
I watched like the first 2 episodes. I was very.
I was unimpressed.
Yeah, I get that. What they've done well is like in the 70s it was a variety show.
Yeah.
And that Muppets in like the mid to late teens was like that office type thing, and so now they're just moving into like what is like the YouTube streaming phenomenon.
Yeah.
And they're keeping up. Like I get that they're trying to keep up with the mediums, but yeah, it just seemed weird.
And like the internet blew up with complaints about Kermit's voice, for example. That didn't bother me.
No, it sounded different, but I mean, yeah, you have to get used to that.
Like eventually the Muppet voices are going to have to change. That's just a fact.
Yeah, you can't Rolf all of them.
Right. So that's.
They Rolf back, but.
So that didn't bother me at all. It was it was the fact that it wasn't the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Check. What was going on in the microphone? So suddenly my mic monitoring has gone all over the place, and I can't tell if I'm hearing myself or not. You can hear me though, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. I got a new headset coming in very soon. Can't wait. It's wireless, which means I won't have to monkey with. Well, RPD, you're hearing a different microphone than like this is not what you're hearing. Broody is hearing this microphone, but you are hearing this one.
Yeah, I have to say it's always a little weird when I'm like looking at the Twitch stream
Because my mouth is
I'm getting the sound through the Discord like a second and a half earlier than it's actually like airing on Twitch.
Which is interesting because it used to be like a 7 or 8 second delay. Alright, I'm going to do a quick inspection here, but I think it's time to ink this model. Oh, not quite. Alright, I gotta do a little bit more dry bark. This model is literally just all browns. It's very boring.
Brown. The one I'm going to do lots of browns as well.
Mm.
I'm on my friend's D&D mini for our campaign.
Mm-hmm. Race class?
I don't know it's like a celestial of some kind.
Okay.
She looks human, but like none of the party members know that she's not.
Right.
I will probably be the last to do that because I've been like any of the times that she's gonna like turn into like the full-blown angel type, like wings and everything. I'm more than likely going to be unconscious because that's usually how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the fighter and I run into battle and I fight things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a barbarian, so I have to kind of take everything.
Right.
Which is fun to roleplay. So, like, my character's like super arrogant. Like I rolled the pride's going to be his downfall, like flaw and stuff. He's very full of himself. And so, like, I roleplay that every time I go unconscious and wake up and the battle's been won, like, I imagine that I've, like blacked out and hulked out and just murdered everything.
Nice.
And so that's just how I roleplay and describe it whenever people are asking me about, like, what's been going on. Like, in towns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the de facto leader. Mostly because everyone else doesn't care.
So, we had an interesting discussion about that at our Sentinels RPG session, about leading a party and about being the party strategist. Russ and I are both playing characters who are very much not us. Like, if it came down to it, Russ and I would think our way through everything incredibly meticulously and before taking an action. Both of our characters are just like impulsive wackadoodles. And it's a weird experience. Like, most of the characters I build for any system tend to be impulsive wackadoodles because I don't want the responsibility of leading the team.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that comes from, usually I'm playing at or for the store, and I want the other players to be in charge of things, But I also personally find it much more fun to wildcard things and let the other players figure things out. I played a character, he was, literally, in all respects, he was designed to be party leader. But he was also designed to be Captain Cold from The Flash. Yeah. And, like, I love that character. It was so much fun to play. But at the same time, I was like, this is not fun. Like, I'm literally just sitting back in every encounter in the back corner, shooting things and calling the shots for the party.
Yeah. So, did you ever peek at the finished products for the TMNT Sentinels?
No, I didn't have a chance to. I really need to. I've been.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously with school starting back up, it's been kind of difficult for me to do anything for myself.
Yeah,
But
I think like overall they turned out pretty well.
good.
Like I didn't want them all to be the same. Like I wanted them to like feel different.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I liked that's what I like about Sentinels. Like with you can do different backgrounds and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
all the different like power sources and etc. stuff. I think the one that Christopher always uses is like Tachyon. She got bombarded with particles, so she could be radiation. You could get it from like genius or inventions, or like her background could be accident from the lab accident, and
Yeah.
like you build it depending on how you want to focus your stuff. So like I kind of wanted to like make sure to focus on different aspects of different turtles.
Yeah.
So like for background, and I also kind of drew from a lot of just Turtles mythos in general,
Mm-hmm.
so everything from the comics to the movie. So given that like Michelangelo does his like Cowabunga Carl stuff, like I decided to give him like the performer background. But I gave like Leo the military to like reflect like Splinter's training.
Mm-hmm.
And then like for the like source of power, like I gave Donnie like genius instead of like anything else, and like experiment went to one of them, and like genetics went to another one, because like all of them are like viable options I think for the turtles,
Absolutely.
and I think they came out really nice.
Good.
Someone brought up like Mikey and Donnie didn't have like close combat as a quality. And I'm like, there's way like that's the whole point of it being narrative. Like you can have them fight and stuff, but like not necessarily use close combat. Use Mikey's acrobatics to be jumping around and attacking people.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's just how you want to describe it.
I think I don't I presume here that you're largely talking about the people on the letters page.
Yeah,
The people who hang out there, and Jacqueline and I have observed this a number of times, tend to be very stuck on the rules, where I don't think I think we who have played the game many times have a better understanding of the rules aren't that important to this system,
yeah,
and you don't need to have a rigid fixation on what the rules specifically say.
mm-hmm.
All right. Yep, I think the correct answer on this mini is just a bunch of Agrax Earthshade. And then a little bit of highlights, then the Nuln Oil, and then this one's done. So I will do... Actually, you know what I'll do first, though? So I'll put down the Astro Granite so that can dry while it's in tandem with the first ink layer. And then I, too, will start in on a second one tonight. But it'll be one that I finish next week on the show, while I work on Russ's spaceship.
Spaceships.
Spaceship! That was a good movie. The Lego movie?
Yeah, I like Lego Batman more.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't see the Lego movie like right when it came out type thing.
Uh-huh.
And everyone hyped it up so much that it didn't live up to the hype.
Yep, okay, that's fair.
Like I enjoyed it, but I was not as blown away by it. But Lego Batman was outstanding.
Will Arnett is a fantastic Batman.
Yeah.
When Adam West passed away, rest his soul, there was a shirt that was put out. It's one of my favorites. It's got all the on-screen Batman standing around up till that point. Obviously, Robert Pattinson not represented, but paying their respects. They've all got their heads bowed, and Batfleck is holding Adam West's body in a very much like Death in the Family pose. And on Michael Keaton's shoulder is Will Arnett's Lego Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cute.
Yeah, Lego Batman is like one of Casey's favorite superhero movies.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
She's constantly raving about how much she loves it. And pretty much if she ever finds someone who doesn't or hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, you gotta watch it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like immediately just like, okay, you're coming over, we're watching it.
When I went down to GTG headquarters to test Prime War 2 Aprils ago, the first thing I did, so Craig picked me up at the airport because he was like, "You don't trust me. You don't want to try and take a lift here."
Yeah.
So he came and got me. Huh?
How is he doing, by the way?
Oh, he's doing well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, he's doing very well. I talk to him about once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then like more on Instagram, but like once a week for sure by text. So yeah, he came and got me, and he's like, yeah, you can hang out at my place, or we can go to the office, either one. I said, dude, I want to meet your dogs, like for real, and I want to meet your husband and all that stuff. So I went and hung out with Craig and Nick and the dogs, and we played Super Smash Brothers, and then Matt came to get me. For context, I was staying with Jen and Rod, but obviously Jen had meetings all day and couldn't come get me herself, and Rod was at the office. So I went over to Matt and Katie's house for a little while because it was closer to Jen and Rod's, and Maggie came over, and Matt and I were, just talking about, growing up in the Northeast, I guess. Because Matt's from New Jersey and I'm from New Hampshire, but I go down to Jersey all the time, and we got on the Jay and Silent Bob movies, and we were just quoting them right and left, and Maggie had this increasingly blank look on her face, which Matt eventually picked up on. He's like, "Wait, have you not seen Clerks?" And Maggie goes, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And Matt and I just look at each other, and Matt runs into his bedroom, grabs the Clerks DVD, plunks Maggie down in a chair, and makes her watch Clerks right then and there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You have not lived until you've watched Clerks with Matt and me quoting along the whole thing. And frequently changing roles.
Now, I do have to admit that Clerks is a movie that I have not seen.
It's a really, really fun movie. Like, anybody who works retail, I insist, should watch Clerks at some point. It's like when my wife got her first job in a retail pharmacy, and she came home like the first week, and she's like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is really, really brutal. And I said, you need to watch Clerks. And she goes, what? Why? No, that's has nothing to do with what I'm doing. And I'm like, no, but it does. And she watched it, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I go through on a daily basis. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've worked retail. When I was in high school, I was Dante and Randall. I would sit, at the desk at the movie rental place with my feet up, watching bad movies and painting miniatures and ignoring customers. Because customers are always a-holes. Like, it's just a fact. All right, it's time for Smagrax Earthshade. At long last. I think it's just the whole model. I mean, except his nose. His nose needs some red. It was an awesome job, RPD. My friend Micah and I were basically in charge of everybody's schedules there, because the boss never came in to do them. Knowing what I know of you, RPD, I think yeah, it would have been probably the perfect job for you.
So is that Minnie's like torso / body, the Iron Maiden?
No, so he is here. The character is here,
I see him up there now.
but he fights with an Iron Maiden, so he just kind of drags it around the battlefield. Main difference between being there might be a chance I'd engage with the customers if I felt like picking a verbal fight. Oh, I would do that too. That is definitely a thing that I did on many, many occasions. Customer would come up to me with like, hey, have you seen any of these? No, they suck. They'd show me the same ones like 30 seconds later. I don't watch movies. Like, as I'm clearly watching a movie on the screen. I was absolutely terrible to customers. Mostly because I knew I could be. Like, I'm not a bad person. I just don't like people. In general. My fight engage line would probably be more, well, aren't you unique and special individual, rich and very taste? Well, that's the people would come up to the counter with the most like intellectually devoid movie on the shelf, Navy SEALs, or like Biodome with Pauly Shore, or like Ernest Scared Stupid. And I would see it as a personal challenge to get them to rent something like Soylent Green instead. Which is not exactly an intellectual film either, but... Just want to do a little bit on his nose, and then we will move on to the other one. For a little bit. I need Carisburg Crimson. He's got Drunk Nose. We just need the tiniest little bit crimson on his schnoz. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Did you hear about Jelly Belly?
I did. Oh my goodness. Like, if I cared about jelly beans.
What?
I said, if I cared about jelly beans, I might go after that.
Yeah. But like a coworker came up to me like Thursday and was like, "Did you hear about the golden ticket thing?" I was like, "No, what is this?" And I was like, "The owner of Jelly Belly is pulling a Willy Wonka. This is the best day of my life."
I know, right? Only in 2020.
Yeah.
RPD.
Like,
Oh, sorry.
I would do math on it. And it's not that he's giving away because it's like a fancy geocache is what it really is.
Right.
It's like you pay $50, you get clues, and you have to go like out into the world and actually find the ticket.
Which seems like effort to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort. But looking at the math, at $50 a ticket, which is what it costs,
Yeah.
with 1,000 contestants per state, that's $2.5 million essentially that he's pulling in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so he's not like giving away the thing; he's finding a way to sell it, but distributing the like cost of it on tons of people instead of like a single person buying it.
Yeah.
And even with the like prize of $5,000 for one person in each of the states, that's only like $250,000.
Right.
He's still getting like $2.25 million out of that.
Yeah, it's a kind of brilliant marketing ploy.
Yeah.
Alright, next up on the chopping block for me, and I don't intend to finish this one tonight, I will finish her next time because the level of detail is a little bit crazy. It's this Minnie, who has a kid on her back. Means I gotta paint around a baby.
It's like Chewbacca and 3PO.
Right? This is Sadie... Oh, hold on. This is Sadie Ironcrest, Warden of the Bloodwood Forest. That's
Okay.
real helpful. And once again, it starts out with a lot of One Fang Brown, I think. Double check the app here, but oh, it's suggesting Doombull Brown. Interesting. I don't even know if I have that. Thought I did. But I'm not seeing it right off the top here. Oh, it's just layer color instead of base, which is interesting. But that's fine. We'll make it work. Oh, yeah. RPD says, Ernest scared stupid he'd let slide. Navy SEALs would make him go, "Are you challenging me?" And Biodome would just would get him cracking his knuckles and going, "It's time for your main event." That is humorous. Oof. So I was listening to the latest Starbomb record today.
Mm-hmm.
That being the Triforce, and specifically the song Vegeta's Serenade.
Mm-hmm.
That song is so freaking funny. because it like it just absolutely nails Vegeta as a character. He is motivated by so little other than beating up Goku in some parts of DBZ.
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
Yeah. And then I was in the liquor store and I ran into a guy wearing a DBZ shirt. And I was like, well, that's just ironic. Coincidental, I guess. Not really ironic. Climax of the series is 30 minutes straight of heated debate whether Ernest Goes to Jail or Ernest Scared Stupid is the best Ernest movie. I watched these Neil something Ernest review video podcasts. It's incredible seeing these three guys intensely debate the Ernest movies. I don't know, RPD. I couldn't bring myself to go anywhere near the Ernest movies when I was working at the store. And I watched some pretty hot mess movies. Most of them really aren't that terrible, except Ernest Goes to Africa and Ernest Rides Again. I don't know, Mike. Have you ever seen any of the Ernest movies?
I'm pretty sure I have. I don't remember any of them.
Yeah, they're kind of forgettable. Like, people, like, you know, we acknowledge that they exist, but it's just like, you know, that's as far as anybody cares to take them. For the most part, I think. If one's willing to dig deeper, there's some weird stuff in them. Yeah, that's true. But that takes a level of willingness akin to watching the Star Wars Holiday Special and trying to glean meaning from it. Which, by the way, did you see there's a Lego Star Wars Holiday Special coming out?
Yes, I know.
I am so pumped for it. I hope it's just literally a rehashing of the Star Wars Holiday Special, just done with Legos. Like, how dope would that be?
It's not. I've seen, like, they already have, like, I've seen, like, screenshots, and it has, like, Rey and Finn and all of them in it.
I mean, I'm okay with that, but it's still Life Day though, right?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Life Day.
Oh
I
my
think
god!
it's actually releasing on, like, after, like, what Life Day would actually be. As much as you can have that with Star Wars, because a long time ago, etc. stuff.
Right. Boy, like, I mean, Disney's done a lot to ruin Star Wars for us. Like, they've tried, like, really hard to ruin Star Wars. And in so much as, like, I'm not saying things are, you know, the movies that they're releasing and such are bad movies. They're fine movies, even if we don't happen to like one or two of them or more. But, like, for the love of Pete, don't ruin the Star Wars Holiday Special. That movie's already bad enough. Like, you'd have to actually work to ruin that. And I feel like if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Disney. I now realize that me saying it's not impossible to find strength to see them falls completely flat when one remembers that you're the one who chose to watch cats. Yep, that's true. Sorry, Brady, go ahead.
I was just saying, hashtag challenge accepted.
Challenge, yeah, right. Oh, right, I was looking at the color. Dirt. I love how you work on minis from a specific series long enough and you start to realize, like, their specific color patterns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
RPD says, I now realize... Oh, no, never mind. He hasn't said anything more. Never mind.
Cat, what are you doing?
I'm being a cat.
She's chewing on the, like, tag of my chair.
That's a little odd. Oh dear. Honestly, I'm really sad that the Varus killed Neil's music video discussion show. Oh, really? Discussing music videos is an odd thing. They do it on the Scrubs Rewatch podcast from time to time because, you know, Braff got to start PAing on music videos. And that's actually one of the things that I used to film also when I was in film school. We did a lot of music videos. And it is definitely an odd bit of business. Neil's an odd art type kind of guy, which makes sense for a guy who's been an internet celebrity since the 90s. Internet has had an absurd amount of different series independent enough of each other that I consider them separate careers. Wow. That is impressive.
But looking back, I don't think I think we started talking about this mini that I was working on for my friend's character.
Yeah, I don't think we ever finished.
Outside of saying that she's like a celestial or something, I did not go into any more detail. She is a monk, the like elemental master.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she's got just a plain quarterstaff. There's these little fumes of smoke that I was going to do like I have a red one, but I was going to do like red, blue, green, yellow probably.
Mm-hmm.
Like different elements, maybe white instead of yellow. Just to kind of have that little motif going.
Yeah. No, I can dig it. So I'm kind of approaching this particular mini as two separate minis. The baby and the mom, I guess.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm just going to lose my mind. And the sculpt is decidedly different than the art, like the conventional art here. So I'm like monkeying around with like trim and stuff that I normally wouldn't even bother with. It would all just be one color. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Doesn't show up too much differently on camera, but I'm using two different colors, one on the main like part of the jacket duster thing, and one on the trim. With some slight variance. After having reviewed all 10 Ernest movies, he decided his next show would be about music videos. Come this season, I'll probably post the Christmas special they did last year, or whenever we pull the trigger and say 2020 is 2020. We're authorizing early deployment of holiday cheer. So that's one of the things that, I don't know, I think I talked about it earlier, is like, my little, like, I guess quarantine pod, if you will, RPD, has sort of said, we are doing holidays together, and we're going to make them the best we possibly can. One of our friends recently bought a house, so we are going to turn it into a gosh darn winter wonderland. Come Christmas. And We're gonna have some darn fun doing it. And it's sort of like we've reached the point in 2020 where we're all just kind of into grim determination to get something good out of it. And that's what I started to talk about. Actually, that's where I was going when I was gushing about, all of this, all the stuff we've done, getting to see people that we don't normally get to see. Like, we are determined to make the end of 2020 be as spectacular as it's possible to get. My friend texted me the other day. I was being positive for some reason or another, and she's like, "How are you able to be positive right now?" I'm like, "You know what? Oh, you know what it was? It was the meme that I posted about Ozymandias.
Where'd you post it?
I think I posted it to Discord. About how, like,
I remember it. Yeah.
Ozymandias, well, just for people who didn't see it, summoned about the end of the world, and trying to, unite everybody against a common enemy. When he did it, he functionally summoned an elder god, potentially even Great Cthulhu, and that's what it took. 2020 has been taking a very Ocean's 13 approach where it's like, well, this didn't work, hit him harder. Meaning that 2020 still has elder gods in its back pocket. Let's maybe please not get to that point. And my friend goes, well, we have to wait till at least November to see if we summon an elder god. And I said, no. You know what? I'm not choosing to think about that right now. I'm choosing to think about things like apple picking and the FP Fest and just other things that are going well.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Because if I don't, I'll just lose my S." I'm afraid for who I'd become if I dwelled on nothing but negative. Going on vacation to Acadia a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, was one of the most satisfying and happy experiences of my life. And it came at a time where so many things are going wrong, which just proves that there's still fun to be had and good to be found in a world that might otherwise be dying. Like I said, it's taken many years and a lot of therapy to get me there, but I'm there, and I can stand by that. So judging by the colors of the label on that paint pot, it looks like you're onto inking?
Yes.
All right, so we'll call it pretty quickly here. Just let me know when you're done, and we'll call it, because I'm starting to lose focus energy myself. But I've actually gotten a lot further on this model than I thought I would get. So that's good.
And black hair is so tough to do.
Yeah, it really is. I end up going dark gray most of the time.
Yeah, I ended up using like for this model, I used black gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about to put a heavy coat of Nuln Oil on top of it.
Yeah. Nuln Oil is such an odd thing too. Like, I notice it doesn't tint the model nearly as much as the other ink washes do from Citadel. Unless you go heavy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, to its credit, works out really well for what I'm trying to do here, but does not necessarily for other things. Such as hair.
It's like if you use like a black, then you like lose all of the detail with the recesses.
Mm-hmm. So we're where I've been for most of it already, which is negotiations are done. It's time for war. My Citadel Color app crashed. That's odd. My eyes are starting to twitch.
Yeah, I'm just doing the final touches right now.
You good? We're almost done all the base coating on this model. Surprisingly enough. Well, the mother anyway. I haven't touched the child yet. needs to dry. I'll take a look at how this guy came out. He's looking pretty solid, to be honest. Rusty old Iron Maiden.
And here, the Elemental Monk.
Yeah. Man, how nice is it having a camera you don't have to struggle to focus?
Yeah, I know, seriously. It's like designed, I can just hold it up there and bam, it's ready.
Yep. Can yours zoom in?
No,
Like,
that's the one thing. The model that I had to go for does not have a zoom feature.
Oh, okay.
So this distance is what we've got.
Yeah. That's alright, though.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I think with that, Broody and I are going to call it a night. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back here for more of this next time. I will have Russ's spaceship as well as the back half on the warden girl there that I was working on at the end. And I'm sure Broody will have something cool to do as well. I've turned off the camera, Broody, so...
I know, I'm just looking.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I will be back on the Handelabra Games channel tomorrow night for Tales from the Archive something or other. I'm not going to write anything, so it's probably just going to be Zach Plays Sentinels, which I feel increasingly good about doing lately because basically nobody else other than John is playing Sentinels, and he's usually just playing Oblivion, so, you know, I feel like I'm responsible in some way to show off the game, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Anyway, and then hopefully Alex and I will be back here on Thursday night for Gear Up. If not, it'll be more Mega Man, and that's fine. I'm almost done with Battle Network 1, and I'm so excited to move on to something else, but I'm also so excited to see the end of that game again. It was so much fun the first time. And then we'll be back for more Trapped in Arkham and Sunnydale on Friday. Broody, it is always a pleasure hanging out with you, my dude.
It is.
And I hope everybody enjoyed chilling with us tonight and watching us watch paint dry. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.